unless you've been under a rock the past week or so, well, past few days at least, you will have probably heard about the Destiny drama, which basically consists of him sharing compromising images and videos of somebody he was dating, involved with, to random people on the internet. The person who was in the pictures did not consent to the pictures being shared. The person in question is Pixie. I don't know that much about her, but she is at the centre of the current allegations. We are going to be watching Tom Dark's coverage. Now, Tom Dark, he has done stuff with Destiny in the past, but he is not, from what he says, a close buddy. They mostly spoke on podcasts and what have you. They got on well on the podcasts, but aside from that, didn't really associate with him that much. So, this is his coverage, and because of his connections, he is able to get some interesting interviews with people. Anyway, the video we are going to be watching here, which is what Tom is watching, it's Exposing the Destiny Abuse Machine by President Sunday.
The allegations, essentially a who was in his orbit for quite some time, decided to make an allegation saying that he spread pictures of her unconsensually.
Now, there's a lot of DMs you will find on these videos. Some of it is interesting, some of it is integral to things, some of it not so much. I feel like there's a lot of, this person said this person said that, but are they really involved? I mean, is their opinion worth that much? There's a lot to get through. I'm not going to be diving in massively because I feel I've watched these videos. I've watched about 5 hours worth on this, and there is a lot of bump. So I'm going to try and cut through as much of it as I can and give you my main perspective.
Rather than seek legal recourse or make a public statement denouncing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented, she seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny. An American citizen who finds themselves a victim of revenge pornography has several valid actions they can take. Let's go over 3. First, they can seek legal recourse. In fact, there is a federal law on the books as of 2022 that allows victims of non-consensual exchanging of explicit material to be compensated up to $150,000, and that's even if the leaks were not necessarily done maliciously, but only with reckless disregard for the consent of the victims. The victims may even have their identity concealed.
Which, to be clear, does seem to be what she's doing now. As she publicly announced, she'll be suing him in a court of law for a good amount of money. That's what she said with her statement.
Second, they may make a public statement denouncing the person who leaked the materials and violated their consent. And in fact, this can be done in conjunction with the first option I mentioned. And finally, they can choose to do nothing. They can stay silent and hope that it all blows over. And this is their right. But Pixie did not do any of these. In an exchange that I have learned has since...
What she's going to do nothing? Hello?
It's been circulated among the entire commentary community on YouTube and virtually everyone in Destiny Circle. Not so erudite can be seen haggling with Pixie over the amount of money that would be appropriate for Destiny to pay her to not involve the court system or to denounce him publicly.
I think I'm going to decide my next course of action of what to do with myself and him based on how that conversation goes. Unless if you decide you don't want to talk to him, that's okay too. Basically, I have my plans and course of action paused, and we'll choose something depending on if he agrees. He has to make up and repent for the action and wants to work with me to find a way to do it. Or if he doesn't feel that way. I don't want to talk to him myself because I feel like I tried to explain what I was feeling and he didn't really understand. I also have a little anxious voice in my brain telling me to prepare for the worst because he probably won't care or doesn't care enough to willingly try to make up for his mistakes. And that means I'll have to start thinking of more extreme and nuclear options to deal with. But I'm trying to avoid spiraling that line of thought because I'm trying to hold out hope. And just to not scare you, 100% not going to do anything to myself no matter what he says during holiday season because I don't want to traumatize my friends during a time that's supposed to be happy. So I guess this is talking about some kind of harming herself physically. And even if he responds negatively, it doesn't mean I'll auto myself. Okay, there you go. I'm trying to contemplate all different courses of actions, including going public, and then if I can't take the moment of humiliation, then myself versus my plan before or scheduling a note for after I die. I'm also still looking into lawyers, but I just want to see what he says before deciding to do any nuclear option. She says, can I share this with Steven? He communicated to me he knows he fucked up and there's no excuse at all, but doesn't know what he can do for you to make it up. I'm trying to bridge between to help him understand what would make you feel that he understood he was wrong, should never do this again. Oh, he'll never do it again, dude. He'll never, ever do it again. He'll never share revenge again, dude. He understands his mistake. He effed up real bad. He effed up real bad.
Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Should never do this again. But he has done it again. He's done it multiple times. This is not the first time. Yeah, that was it. There's some interesting clips. I don't know whether it's in this video or another video that the cover of him talking about, it seems to be the possibility of sharing stuff to get back at people. So it seems to be something he's thought of or done before.
Destiny has also at least once admitted to accidentally sending homemade videos of him and his wife to people who his wife did not in advance approve of, in accordance with a previous agreement that he wouldn't.
Me and Melina had a conversation about, there were a few girls that we talked to, it was like, oh cool, like we should record videos of like us fucking shit and send it to people, like it's fun. I kind of like have like my little archive of like Coomer material that I'll send to people if I want to. There were girls that I talked to past that I'd send stuff of like either me or me and Melina, and Melina talked to me and she was like, hey, if you're gonna send any videos to new girls that we haven't talked about, like let me know that first, because she wanted to be careful. And so I was like, oh okay, sure, that was fine. I didn't think of it at the time because I didn't think it mattered, but for the first thing, like, okay, yeah, I should have like checked 100% with Melina to make sure, but like this.
Destiny has a very bad history when it comes to sharing intimate material of people that he is sexually involved with without their consent, and of using the threat of their release to keep people in line.
That's the other bit I wanted to look up in a bit more detail. The hacking.
Due to the solo leaks, it has come to light that Destiny has been sharing intimate private messages, nude images, and pornographic videos with a 19-year-old OnlyFans creator called Rose, who he was sexually interested in at the time. Rose leaked these to a Discord and Kiwi Farms user called Solo Leaks, who may, for all we know, be Rose herself, who then published them to Discord and to Kiwi Farms.
The thing is, I don't think there's any, like, making this right from Destiny. Like, I don't think you can ever be forgiven for something like this. Like, this is a pretty disgusting thing to do. To unconsensually send a video of you having sex with someone to another person is in and of itself fucking horrible. But the ultimate consequence of that was that it got leaked to the entire internet for everyone to see, humiliating Pixie beyond any reproach. Steven has to face consequences proportional to his actions. I want this to be the most expensive mistake of his life, and I'm essentially asking him to self-punish himself in a way I don't think he will like or agree to without the law involved. I don't have a dollar amount from the top of my head. It just has to be enough that for the rest of his life, if he thinks of the word nude, he associates with it, and with the amount of money he loses. Obviously, I don't want to make him destitute, but it should be large enough that he does feel upset.
I don't think you've got the power to do that, unfortunately.
Our Destiny is a multimillionaire, so it'd have to be a lot of money for him to really feel that pain. Now, I think another perspective to this is also, how can Destiny ever judge someone else morally for anything they've ever done with this?
True.
Like, if he unconsensually shared nudes of someone, how can you ever morally have any judgment on anyone?
I mean, at one point, I think there was discussion of him trying to get an interview with the Ukrainian president. I mean, if he can't be trusted with sensitive information and he's involved in making political content or connections with politics, he's not going to be trusted.
The only justification got to be that Pixiegate can send us some earlier point with receipts. There are no other explanations. It's kind of crazy situation. Yeah. If Destiny somehow has that, I guess that would kind of absolve him or something. But, I mean, I don't think that exists. Maybe it does somewhere, but, like, if that does exist, then why would Destiny have been apologizing for what happened in the DMs?
Yep.
Why would Erudite have been talking about how it was such a horrible thing that Destiny will never do again? But, like,
yes.
If it was consensual from the start, the sharing was...
It would be outright denied, wouldn't it? If there wasn't any truth in it, Destiny wouldn't have been so nice to her, basically. Kind of was telling Pixie that she would talk to Steven IRL, but then said scheduling issues. Well, what's more important, your schedule or this huge scandal?
Is, of course, Pixie's continued silence. This would seem to imply that Pixie's decision to not go public is not because she is afraid of the repercussions, or else she wouldn't be threatening Destiny directly with legal action or public denunciations.
She was afraid, actually, of the
repercussions.
She was saying that he was jokingly, around the same sort of time, he was joking about suing her son and how it wouldn't be no big deal for him. And that made her scared of possibly suing him.
She wants to profit personally off of extorting Destiny, who also, it must be remembered, is a victim of revenge.
What? You're trying to paint Destiny as a victim there?
So, I mean, based on this, we can kind of deduce that Pixie was not okay with this video coming out, but now she's made a public statement, so that's why I'm talking about it. But
so, that was part 2 of your 3 things that she ticked.
Or that she did not want this President Sunday video to come out whatsoever. As far as, like, blaming her for trying to extort him, like... What do you expect her to really do? Like, she gets her news leaked. Do you expect her to act, like, totally virtuous in the situation? Oh, well, I guess I just won't try to get any money out of him whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'll just bring the story public immediately so that he gets shit on. It's like, okay, well...
And that's enough.
But also...
Well, it isn't really enough, is it? And career. What was it? Oh, there was some comment, somebody saying, oh, it's no big deal. It doesn't really affect her. Are you joking? Are you stupid? Of course it does. Corn of you circulating on the internet. Anybody could see it. What if you're getting interviewed for a job and you say, oh, I'm a YouTuber or I do this, or they know that, they're going to type it in Google and possibly see you in a compromising video or compromising photos of you. Of course it'll affect your life. You're stupid.
Even more people know about the fact that her news were leaked. It will, follow her for a very long time on the internet. I don't really see any problem with her trying to extort him. Fuck it. She wants to get a little money out of it. Good for her. Like, ideally, she would come out publicly with it like she has now to hopefully bring attention to the situation and prevent potential further victims. But, so what? She should be a better victim.
Destiny may be the one responsible for the leaker having the images in the first place, but he shared them recklessly, not maliciously.
Whether it's reckless or malicious is beside the point. It still had the same result.
And of course, he has endured public humiliation as well for this.
He himself has said that it would have less impact on him than his potential victims.
Pixie has since said nothing publicly. There has been no evidence of legal proceedings being pursued, and she has seemingly ceased communications with the people she was previously working with, instead posting on X about taking the LSAT in pursuit of law school. It appears as though her attempt to extort Destiny has probably paid off, albeit at the expense of every other person Destiny has victimized in the past and will victimize in the future.
Albeit at the expense of victimized in the past and will victimize in the future. What?
Wait, President Sunday is blaming her for negatively impacting Stephen's previous victims and his potential future victims by rightfully asking for compensation? Wild.
It's not up to Sunday to decide whether the maximum amount the court could give her in compensation matches what Pixie believes Stephen should pay for his crime.
So he's basically saying that she's extorting him. I mean, there's proof that this happened. There's no blurred lines about videos weren't shared and what have you. So you can't blame her, I don't think, for wanting a payout from it. It's not as if she's bought the videos
to light
deliberately to extort money from Destiny. The videos came out without her control. So I don't think that counts as extortion, does it?
All right, so that's the end of the evidence. Once again, I have no evidence against Dan, but we have another video by Cope and Seethe going over this stuff that we have to watch. DestinyHitPiece.exe. Now, I assume some of this will be the same coverage, but it looks like there's a lot more DMs being shared here.
Hi everyone. So Lonabox has announced that he is quitting YouTube, and he gave a bit of an iffy answer for that. Like he said, it was in part because he was supposedly harassed and smeared by me and Hassan. But I actually found out the real reason just now.
Is this guy on Adderall as well? He's got the Destiny gun. Why do these guys... I think they're all on MDMA or something, haven't they? They've got the gun going on.
Are you a drugs guy?
I'm not like a crazy drugs guy, but I like, like mushrooms, LSD, MDMA, that kind of stuff.
Low dose MDMA.
And this, outside of these two, the wider rumor mill was obviously already spinning, with people reaching out to see what information or opinions other people had. There's obviously the additional factor of speculation regarding what other communities may know or be referring to when they were coming across general memes or comments. These conversations would continue for several days while they...
Do you know what I mean? It's all a bit kind of bump, isn't it? I don't know, man. I found this video a bit like, oh, this person said this person said this, this person said this person said this. It's like, oh, man. You're talking about the machine round this person. You're not helping cut through that machine, are you?
Earlier, and she asked how Pixie is doing, but then she asked if Pixie knew he took the video and if she consented to it being shared. I don't know why she would even ask that.
I'm guessing she consented to it being taken. I mean, if she didn't, that's making things even worse. She wouldn't consent to it being shared. That's crazy. Who would do that? Who would consent to it being shared? That's bonkers. Oh, it was Kyla who was saying that. Okay. Well, that sounds like she's Destiny speaking through her then to me, that.
Kyla, Erudite has like a business with Destiny. The Bridges podcast from the DM.
Is a podcast a business? I feel that this was the other thing which was coming up, that possibly Erudite didn't want to break ties, was reluctant to break ties with Destiny because she had a business with him. Well, it sounds to me if it's just a podcast, I think you could break ties. I mean, come on.
He did retweet Pixie. Holy f***. One of Destiny's top guys until, a couple days ago, retweeted it. Holy fuck, dude. I'm realizing now Destiny's probably watching this stream, so there we go.
At this point,
don't worry about that, Tom. Don't worry about it, mate.
That the leaks themselves and the silence around them had become such a fascinating topic.
sure about this guy. I keep saying fascinating. Oh, it's fascinating. I'm not sure how Pixie would be want to hear that. You know, my case is fascinating. Troubling, but fascinating. Unless you got a morbid fascination with this kind of thing.
Keep that in mind. It's an interesting question. Symposium Brain for $20 says Melina recently confirmed that the sex tapes leaked by Destiny's former girl were shared by Destiny without her consent.
Good one. Nice.
She has no legal.
Oh, I don't like this as well, man. This is crazy. I don't know why Tom didn't say more about this, man. That is sign of a really guilty person jumping in and just shutting this guy down and talking over him. He's like, he doesn't want a damn thing said about that, does he?
And I got a whole bunch of super chats for you. Wait, ready?
Whoa. He didn't like that, did he?
Destiny said that he will be making a statement today within a matter of hours.
Which he didn't really say much in, by the way. He just said, I can't say anything because I'm taking people to court about it. That was basically the summary of it.
Things die out surprisingly fast. There might always be a couple of random losers online. People move on to the next thing. What a weird thing to say. Dude, it's like fucking not everybody is as comfortable or cool with their news being leaked online forever. Okay? And outside of some losers on Kiwi Farms and some irrelevant content people who will fade away in a year or two, inevitably stuff fades away.
That's not the point, man. It sounds like you're playing it down. Like, if it's out there, it's going to be online forever, isn't it? You know? If there's nudes of this girl and she's a famous content creator, things will always be getting shared. However long she stays famous, and even if she doesn't.
There are people who were big online a few years ago that can barely even find traces of anymore. Stefan Molyneux was a good example. 2, you still have every legal option available to you. You can always pursue stuff, and there are special civil and criminal protections that even shield your name from being released. Obviously,
well, she was saying actually that you can't shield your name from being released.
You should take things I'm saying with a grain of salt and pursue and check all those things out on your own. 3, you've accomplished and done a ton of things in the past couple of years. When I met you a few years ago, you were yo-yoing like crazy between ultra-suicidal ideation thoughts and being hung up on a weird guy.
What, you?
College degrees. But you've done a ton of work this year with Progressive Victory, moved to and survived in Miami all on your own, branched out into new content areas, and made new friends across new communities. It would be super shitty to not follow through for a couple more years at least and see where you could continue to push things. Oh, well, your news may have been leaked for the entire internet to see, but you can just move on. You can just move on. You can just move on, dude.
Was essentially a brief exchange of...
This feels super lame, and I don't want to at all imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes anything for you. But if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with, I can at the very least chip in and help you out with any of that. Just at least one less.
This is another point I wanted to make. That if you are sending any type of money to a victim of yours, however you frame it, it looks bad. You can frame it however you like, but there's always a possibility people or even the court can say that that was bribery or you were tried to bribe.
Last thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying about getting through this. I can pay for your groceries, dude. I can pay for your groceries.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of playing it down, isn't it? Pay your bills. I don't want my fucking bills paid for, man. I want some serious money from you for fucking up my life. It's kind of patronising, isn't it? And also what I was going to say about this was that some people can actually find this kind of thing quite offensive if you're saying, oh, you owe money, or like he's saying here basically that she's needs money, that she's hard up. Some people can find that extremely offensive, even if they are. Not a good look.
But you could basically imply that, or infer that, yes, it could have been potential hush money from him being like, oh, well, I'll help you out with groceries or something, just to, you know, take the burden off you, to kind of try to make it seem like he's a better guy.
Here, Pixie clarifies. What she wants is for this to be the most expensive mistake of his life. She doesn't list a dollar amount, nor does she want to make him destitute, but it should not be easily recoverable.
Yes, I don't know where this 1 million's come from. Did she say 1 million at any point? I don't think she did, so I think Straighter Aid has kind of plucked that out of thin air a little bit. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe there's messages, but from what I've seen, she hasn't mentioned a million. She's just said an amount to F him up a bit. A lot, rather.
Pixie responds that she feels that unless he faces actual repercussions, he will never change. Also noting that this money can be given to charity.
I mean, some money to her as well, but a big chunk to charities dealing with problems similar to what she has. I think that's what I'm getting from this.
But if not, then she will have to go through the court system to, as she puts it, figure this out. She goes on to note, Destiny has already alluded in DMs with her previously to financial compensation, though her concern is that he doesn't really understand the level of proportionality she is expecting from him. Kyla would then respond to tidy up the language, as in her view, it's not about punishment, it's about making sure—
This isn't high schoolers leaking shit. This is a man with hundreds of thousands of followers leaking it to Gooner accounts. Yeah, and also a 35-year-old man.
Either go all in and go, I'm going to give you a chunk of money, or going to give a chunk of money to charity, or don't say anything, because otherwise it's, I don't know, it just seems like a bit of a crappy gesture, I think.
that he is genuinely remorseful and changing his behavior. As she goes on to further clarify Pixie's position, with Pixie agreeing to the general gist. They go back and forth, with Kyla clarifying that, you're not making me sad, other than like, I'm obviously sad my friend is hurting, and was hurt by our other friend. Pixie makes a final clarification that Destiny needs to understand the severity of the situation, and that paying some bills, which is a reference to her previous conversation with Destiny, isn't enough. With a final clarifier from Kyla that, I think he was worried you would feel he's paying you for your silence, but did want to help but didn't want to overstep. I think he is offering a lot more than you read it.
That screams hush money to me.
Oh, so what am I supposed to do? Be impressed by that? Fuck off.
And she's discouraged from pursuing a legal route after speaking with a lawyer who specializes in cybercrimes and revenge porn, after they told her that the hacker is at more fault legally than Steven, which is why she wants to go public about it. She feels like it's not going to be any legal justice, and she doesn't want him to get away with it.
The hacker is not more at fault than Steven. Listen, the hacking would not have meant anything if it wasn't for the original images being out there. And also, he still shared it with people he shouldn't have done. I mean, I guess he's saying that the person I've sent it to, it wouldn't have gone any further than them. Well, that's not the point. You shouldn't have shared it with them anyway. There's no realistic no way court will grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. Then she's been told not to go public. So that is in a roundabout way saying don't take it to court, isn't it? Oh dear. So she's saying that she feels she has to go to court about it.
Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I have received.
Dan, do you want to just come on stream to talk about this stuff? I see you're in the various chats. You want to just hop on, or do you not want to have a call? It's fine if you don't, but if you want to hop on, we can have a chat about it. You can give your statement, defense, whatever. Yeah. I don't know if everything you're sending me in DMs is stuff you want me to leak, but yeah. We can have a chat if you want. He's calling. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, so, kind of a crazy...
So what is most interesting about these Tom Dark streams is the phone calls, I think. Like, these texts are interesting to a point, but it's a lot to get through, basically. But the calls are more revealing, I think.
Crazy day, huh?
Yeah. There was like a good meme that was posted, but probably without... Anyways, yes.
This phone call, man. This is a weird phone call. He starts off wading in. He's obviously very nervous and very wound up. He starts off with this, I've got this meme, and then he just doesn't know what he's saying. And he's clearly wading into this from the angle of, I'm going to be funny and quirky about this because that's what Tom likes, and that'll win me over to Tom and possibly his audience. But it's just embarrassing, man.
I don't know. The whole thing is really fucked up situation. I don't understand why, where this thing came from. As I said, I talked to Pixie one time. I'm on good terms with her. And, when we talked, she was just like asking for advice. And Destiny would probably be upset because I did like the opposite of...
Where this thing came from? What do you mean where this thing came from? Her putting out a statement because she's been forced to.
Of sweeping. I was basically, she was asking like, about a bunch of legal shit. And I was to the point where I was like, well, let me see if I can find some attorneys to recommend to you. I wasn't like pushing one thing or the other. You won't find any logs or any crazy shit like that of me doing anything because they don't exist.
Okay. I mean, the only thing she said, as far as I could tell, is that you advised her that going public might be bad for her. Which...
what she was at the time. So the first something to be clear of, like before this happened, right? Because this was all obviously way after the Kiwi Farms thread and everything else. At that point, like people already, like a bunch of people already knew. So like the whole going public thing didn't make sense. I think she was concerned is that she didn't want it to spread, and I thought that was if that's your ultimate goal, like that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So
that was my
she was
impression because I was hearing about this stuff and I was under the impression that she didn't want any of it to be public. So I was like, well, she is the victim, so I'm not going to, right?
Yeah, she didn't. That was the number one concern, is like anything she did would draw attention to it. And I was like, well, I would agree with that. So that's why she was asking about the legal stuff, because that could be potentially completely private. But at no point
No,
was
it
I like,
couldn't.
don't do this, don't do that. You know, to be clear, I think like the person who's most at fault here is the hacker, but you know, that's not what anyone is.
The person's most at fault here is the hacker. No, dude, they are not. It is Destiny, mate.
Specifically talking about right now, but
well, I mean, I think the point to be made though is like the hacker never would have had that in the first place if Destiny hadn't been sending this around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You do seem to believe that to be the case, right?
Yeah, but I can also put it another way, right? So there's you shouldn't have sent that around. I'm not going to defend that, but in the same part,
This is such a bad phone call, and Destiny must be absolutely livid. He must be absolutely fuming with Dan, because this is such a bad phone call.
like I don't think 100% of the blame, even though that's bad, it's like, as an example, a shitty example, but let's say that me and you
Very shitty example.
are in a relationship and you've sent me your dick pics and we've been sending dick pics back and forth, and then your Discord gets hacked and someone leaks it. Like, how much are you at fault there, right?
Right, but the point. But the point is that Destiny also, which you seem to think is the case, sent it to other people outside of the relationship. It's more like
Yes.
you and I are in a relationship, and I've seen your cock, and I send it to Nicholas Diorio, and Nicholas Diorio gets hacked. At which point you find out I've been sending pictures of your cock.
Yeah, exactly. That's not good.
So just to be clear, this is true, right?
What's true?
That he leaked her nudes without her consent.
That's what Pixie says on this type of thing. I don't have any inside information onto that front besides what.
You haven't talked to Steve about this?
I mean, I've talked to him briefly about it, but now it's like I'm a little bit nervous to say too much. Everyone like getting sued, and I certainly don't want to get dragged into all that fucking nonsense or anything.
Yeah, you should have not have gone on this call, man. This is a terrible call.
Along those lines. But I'll say that Pixie says that she didn't consent to that, and
Why would anybody consent to have these videos shared?
not good if that's the case, right?
If that's the case, it is the case.
Yeah, I mean, at least based on the DMs, I mean, why would he? I guess my question is based on the messages.
The thing, like,
that
why
he
am I cautious to say anything? Is because I just don't know what could have been the case. Like, I'm not going to say.
That's fair, and I understand that for sure. I guess for me, the reason why it seems to be the case to me is because in his DMs with her, and Kyla's DMs with
Again,
her as well.
I'm not sweeping for Kyla or for Destiny. I only
Yes, you are.
for myself. That's it.
That's fair. Just ignore chat. Ignore chat. I don't think you're sleeping. For me, it seems to be the case because of the direct acknowledgement of wrongdoing, right? And like, for example, Erudite saying, "Oh, well, Steven needs to understand nothing like this will ever happen again, and he feels so sorry for what happened." Like, if there was consent, why would there be acknowledgement of wrongdoing if he had previously consented to the DMs, right? Or to the news being sent around, right? That's kind of my conclusion. And I assume Kyla wouldn't be trying to imply that unless that was the case.
I know this sounds strange. I actually speak with Kyla like almost never at all. Like, it's very rarely. It was for booking stuff, and now we actually I'm finding a new person for doing booking, not because of anything, because of this, but I genuinely don't know about that situation. I talked to Pixie one time because she wanted legal advice. That was it. One time. Okay.
Right.
And at no point of that was I doing anything along the lines of suggesting she didn't do anything or anything else. That's all that I'm really speaking to here on my front. I'm not retarded. I've met you. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus telling someone that they shouldn't do that. Like,
that's fair.
Jesus fucking Christ, that would be insane. Like, literally nuts to do. So that was it. She asked for legal advice, and I gave it to her, even though it was probably to the detriment of Steve to a certain extent. The things that I was saying, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't seen any evidence of you doing anything fucked up, so there's that.
You won't. You won't, because it doesn't exist. Mainly because, Well,
Yeah.
oh, and I'm trying to think what else might come up with me specifically. Yeah, like I did the thing about Kiwi Farms. I said it was stupid to sue Kiwi Farms, and I stand by that. I think that's a lose-lose-lose situation across
That's
the
true.
board.
Yeah, that wouldn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Like the only winner in that situation ever is going to be lawyers and attorneys. So that's why I said that, because it's true. Like, yeah, that's it. So I don't want to make this a whole fucking thing or anything else along those lines. I don't know. There's a lot of people in this situation right now that are also like I see Lauren De Laguna made the fundraiser. President Sunday fucking hates Steve. Like, I'm just.
I mean, to be clear, there are a lot of like weird intentions around this, and even beyond that, anybody who's ever associated with Destiny is about to be accused of sweeping, and that's going to happen. But realistically, I think that stuff will die off as the sort of more important factors come into play regarding the people who are actually involved. Which, as far as I can tell right now, seems to be Destiny, seems to be Kyla, and as far as anybody else that did anything wrong, I maybe I'm misremembering. I can't see anything yet, but yeah, it seems to be pretty fucking bad, dude. It seems to be pretty fucking bad. Apparently, Steven is making a statement in a few hours. I guess you don't have anything to say about that because you're.
I genuinely don't know what the fuck he's gonna say, but I assume it'll be like every other statement he does with vlogs and all sorts of other shit, because that's what Steve does always.
Oh, well, he's going to come with receipts and all the stuff to combat it, because that's what he does. That's kind of saying, better watch out. That's suggesting support for him as well.
Yes, I understand you as his co-host are in a very awkward position.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. We'll see what happens today. I will stand by. Look, I think there's not enough negative shit also towards the hacker.
He's bringing this up again. I will stand by. You'll stand by Destiny. I don't think there's enough negative about the hacker. I don't think that's got anything to do with it. Sorry, man. But the hacker isn't as high profile, is he? If the hacker had nothing to leak, nothing would have happened with it.
To be clear, right? So, I don't know. That's it. That's the little bit of sweep that I do. Okay, right there. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you coming
Like
on.
if you just to be clear, if you send my dick pics, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If you send my dick pics to anyone, like everything I'm saying here doesn't matter. Like, just want to.
I really hate this as well. This is really bad, man. He's making a joke out of this woman's predicament. I absolutely hate this. This made me really pissed off, this did.
Be clear. I'm coming after you if you send.
I'm coming after you if you share those dick pics, Tom. Shut the hell up, man. That is low.
My dick pics anywhere.
That's totally fair. That makes sense.
All right.
And it makes Tom feel awkward as well. He's like, okay, dude. He's just doing it to just, make himself look cool in front of Tom. And Tom's like, okay, mate.
I've only sent it to like a few hundred people, so you're good.
No, like you're not even allowed to send it with like your mom, okay? Just because you think your mom's not going to share it, because you know what? Your mom's going to share it with your dad, and then
My
your
mom
dad
needs to know.
He stretches this joke out as well. Just keeps it rolling on. It's so distasteful.
My mom needs to know who I'm with and if he's well endowed or not, especially in the Jewish respect.
Okay.
Because I heard you're not cut, which seems kind of antithetical.
First off, that is absolutely untrue. My dick is cut so far back.
I'm not a big fan of sex jokes at the best of times. Maybe I'm a bit prudish. But this is not the time to be making your crappy sex jokes, mate. Shut up.
It's like, it's nothing but head, okay?
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Idiot.
You're welcome.
So that's one of his main men. That's one of Destiny's main cohorts, is it? I mean, what does that say? What does that tell you? This says to me that this kind of humour is pretty prevalent in the camp, which is also not a good look. And even when you've got this massive scandal going on, you still can't help yourself. You still have to do your crappy little sex jokes. We're going to be taking these dodgy jokes in a different way now. It's not going to be, ha, that's edgy. It's going to be, hang on a minute. You're not a very nice person, are you?
I look forward to the shit show.
I guess. Yeah, I guess he's supposed to be responding soon, so we'll see how that goes. All right, well, thanks for coming on, big boy.
Yeah, no problem.
Big
Cheers.
cheese.
Later, Holmes. Yep, later.
Yep. All right. We got word from the rabbi chat. There you go. All right, we'll keep going through this video from Copenseed now.
Generally, this is unbiased, but it definitely seems from this video that Tom gets on well with Dan, and Dan was manipulating that a bit. But I think if Destiny heard that phone call, he would be fuming, because it's not good. It is not good PR for the camp, that's for sure. It seems as if, I'm thinking of somebody else here, another content creator, video game content creator, seemingly getting a kick out of sharing sexual content with just on the internet and with random people, and sending backwards and forwards with random people on the internet. And if you are this level of popularity, if you are a huge public figure like Destiny, why are you sharing images like this around? You're just asking for trouble. It seems as if he almost got a kick out of doing it, which is even more crazy and even more valid why he's getting
chastised
and why he should be held to account for it, because he's just been so stupid the whole way along. This is an intelligent man, supposedly.
That's pretty chat. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's some small chance Destiny can disprove these allegations if he's able to provide proof that, in fact, Pixie did consent to the sharing of these DMs before. Or not the sharing of these nudes before. In which case, the only responsible party...
Very unlikely. And it seems... And she wouldn't have done otherwise. He wouldn't have sent messages acknowledging her claims.
As she would have consented. But in the absence of any proof of that, for now, we just have to kind of wait and see what he says. But this is pretty.
I'm gonna go over the Erudite stuff as well, because she has a very interesting call with Tom, and I'm gonna go over that in my next video, I think, because this is quite a big topic to cover. I've covered as much of it as I can today. There's a lot to get through, isn't there? I don't know how to conclude this, really. Just to say that it's not looking very good for him, is it really? It does look as if he has tried to silence it. Definitely tried to play it down. How can you say that this will fade away? It's not going to fade away, is it? And that sounds as if he's hoping that it fades away so that people stop talking about him. She's not going to stop talking about it. Pixie's not going to stop talking about it. So, where do we go from here? I'm guessing to court. Even when this dies down, as Tom says, how can you take this guy seriously? As soon as he starts to try and expose anything, everyone's going to say, oh, well, you did this, that and the other. How can anybody, maybe you want to talk to him about a serious political issue. Maybe you want to get a serious political thing out there, or not. How can you trust this person with anything, any information you send him? He might just send it to anybody else. He's untrustworthy, and that is not a good look for somebody looking to become a serious political commentator, to the point where he was even wanting to talk with the Ukrainian president. It's similar in a way to the Dr. Disrespect thing. It's different, but how can anybody watch Dr. Disrespect, his act of being a Giga Chad now, without thinking of the scandal that he's had recently? This is really damaging to Destiny. I don't think this one's going to be going away anytime soon. It's also this, possibly part of it, is this idea that if you have a position which you believe is a position of power, that you can get away with whatever you want. I also think that a possibility of it is that he is manipulating mentally vulnerable people, which is really uncool as well, put it mildly. That's another thing which is going to come up, which is kind of not being talked about that much. That is all I've got to say for the moment. Thank you for watching. I am going to be covering a bit more of this in a future video, namely the Tom Dark phone call with Erudite. Take it easy and subscribe for more React content.